So I actually am curious, before I begin, how many of you have heard of Burning Man? Okay, so maybe about a third. Well, I'm excited to tell all of you about what to me has been a really special experience and has actually become a lifestyle. So I'm just queuing up here. Here we go. All right, so Burning Man is at once an event, but it's also an experience because we view Burning Man as a city. So I'm going to be taking you through how Burning Man functions as a city and what we can learn from looking at some of its routines. So what you're looking at is our city. This is called Black Rock City. It's a space of now 70,000 participants, and it exists for 1 week in the Black Rock Desert of Nevada. It's held on a dry, prehistoric lake bed where now nothing can exist. Not a mosquito, not a plant, and a crazy bunch of us go there and survive. And with us, we have to bring everything that we need to survive in a place where nothing can exist. Zeroing in a little bit, you can see how the city is laid out. In the last presentation, we saw a few images of clocks, and our city is shaped like a clock. So as you're moving through time at Burning Man, you're actually moving through time. So at the center of the city stands our man, our effigy that we create together. And then we have a temple at 12 o'clock. And then as you move around the outside, you have 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and so on, until you arrive at 6 o'clock, where we have our Center Camp Cafe. So it's typical to say, I live at 2 o'clock and A, and that's how the streets are arranged and how the cities function. But people just don't come in and, set themselves up wherever they want to. Many are organized into theme camps and villages and groups. So each year we have over 800 groups that are formed together that then decide that they need a certain plot of land to have all of their folks occupy it. The rest, people can walk in and set up, but most people are organized into villages and into camps. Before we all get there is a crew that goes out to the desert about 6 weeks in advance to survey the city and to lay it out in its grid. So the first thing that they start with is a golden spike on the ground. And that's where the man is going to stand. And from that, they orient and measure all the different roads and the streets that will be built that will facilitate the arrival of the 70,000 participants. These setup crew members, many are volunteers, some are paid staff, and they come from all over the world. And we definitely think of Black Rock City as a city. This is actually from a few years ago, so we had 60,000, now 70, which I've mentioned. But really having these city signs and these entry roads creates a sense for people that they're entering into a metropolis. And there are a lot of things that make Burning Man function as a metropolis. For example, we have 2 newspapers where you can hear about what's going on in real time every day. We have a public radio station that people can tune into as they're coming into Black Rock City and get up-to-the-minute news. And the only things that you can buy in the city are coffee, because that's kind of an essential thing, obviously, and ice. So those are kind of our metropolis functions. We also have an emergency services department. We have a police force. We have a fire squad. Many of the things that you would find in a traditional city. Here's a look at our entryway. We call this ingress. When everybody comes, we call it ingress, and when they leave, exodus. And all of these people have to pack in everything that they're going to need for that week in the desert. But they also bring more than just what they need. They bring what they can give other people. There aren't just stages where rock bands are playing or where people are performing for people. What happens in Black Rock City is a 100% participant created. We bring the infrastructure and we lay the groundwork, and then we invite them to contribute everything that they could want to contribute. So this is their chance to bring what they have to offer the other citizens of Black Rock City. So this picture just illustrates one of our principles, which is decommodification. So on the playa, on our city, Black Rock City, no money is exchanged. You can't, except for coffee and ice. But you would not go up to someone and buy wine. You can't buy camping supplies. If you've missed the boat and not gotten them, then you better make friends with your neighbors. And this shows that bartering is a one-to-one exchange. But in our gift economy, by bringing everything that you have to offer and giving it freely, more will happen. You'll inspire other people to be generous as well. We also try to run ourselves like the city of our dreams. So there are police that are from Nevada's Bureau of Land Management, but there's also a volunteer participant-run ranger squad. They look pretty friendly. And they help to make sure that the citizens of Black Rock City have what they need. They de-escalate conflicts. They help to mitigate situations when they get tricky. And another amazing part of our city is that it's imbued with a lot of ritual. What you see here are our lamp lighters. Each evening, when the light shifts and the sun starts to go down, this group, actually about 200 of them, cloaked in robes and carrying lanterns, goes through our city and lights all of the streets. It's a really special time. It's a time where we know day is turning into night, and then in the morning, they take them all down. So that helps to mark time in a place where people can do anything that they want. I have been going to Burning Man for 10 years. It was not initially a job for me, but it's become a really amazing and intense part of my life. This is me and my mom. My mom comes with me to Burning Man. She's been a very welcome addition to our camp, and this year my dad will come too. On a typical day for me, I wake up, I make my morning coffee, maybe I have some breakfast with my mom at our camp, and then I will start my day. I wear a radio. I have a team, and what I'm there to do is facilitate the communications that happen on Playa between all of our international groups. So I host events, I help to facilitate the art projects that come in from around the world, and that's a work day. But I don't just get into my car and go to work. I ride what's called a mutant vehicle. So this is my car. On Playa. This is a giant narwhal that some friends and I have built since it was a piece in 2002, and we started restoring it in 2008. And that's how I get around. I also have a jazz ensemble that comes with me. I do jazz shows, and those little balls at the top also shoot fire. You can't drive a normal car at Burning Man. Once you bring in all of your stuff, you have to just leave your car. And then it's up to you to make something that's artistic that will pass a test by the Department of Mutant Vehicles to show that it's not just a normal car. Here are some other examples. A front porch. Some friends decided that their favorite thing to do was drink whiskey and just hang out on a front porch. So now their front porch is with them wherever they go. And here you'll see some boats. This is what a street and a typical commuting day looks like in Black Rock City. Also, bikes are really popular because our city is pretty enormous, so it takes a lot of energy to get around, especially in the desert heat. Also, on a typical day, you could experience one of our few hundred art installations. We give funding to artists from around the world who make pieces that participants can interact with and experience. So here's an example of some folks having a self-generated art tour. And what are they climbing? A beautiful art piece by Kate Rodenbush in New York City. Some people will orient their entire day to having a daytime experience. They will put all of their energy and their costuming and all of their effort into having something that happens when the sun is up. But other people love to have those experiences at night. Oh, this is a piece by a Russian group, our first Russian group that we funded last year in 2013. Our theme was cargo cult, and these folks created what they called the Cradle of Mir, which was a space station sent into space by Russia, which you guys probably know. But part of what made it special is they invited participants to interact with it by inscribing on it the messages and the wishes that they would want to be taken into outer space. And then this piece was ceremonially burned on Friday night of our event. Also, like a regular city, we have protesters. And we have people that have something to say and a point to prove. Here, you will see the Billion Bunny March. These are bunnies, real, human bunnies, marching to the man to protest for bunny rights. Yeah, there's a closer look. But what you don't see is there was a counter-protest of all of the carrots who didn't really like to be eaten by the bunnies, so they had something to say about that too. It's a place where you can be radically self-expressive and where part of the routine and part of the urban environment is creating spectacle and enjoying your own personal voice. Here's a look at our city at sunset. There's our man, the effigy. The man is something that anyone can ascribe the value to that they want. So when our first burn happened on 1986 in a beach in San Francisco, Larry Harvey, our founder, created an effigy because he needed to mourn the loss of a relationship. Yeah, sometimes you just got to do something radical. And people ascribe to this man whatever it is that they want. Maybe it's the burning of the man or the presence of the man to them is a symbol of their hopes and dreams, or them living a daily life in Black Rock City that's something they want to apply more to their daily lives. It can be anything to anyone, and that's what makes it special. And there's our man at night. And people love the nighttime. I think what's different about Black Rock City than a regular city is that the busiest time and the most heightened state of awareness is in the evening. Driving around, you might see an art car like this. This is an octopus, mobile, that shoots fire. There's another look at it. Also, you can experience art pieces and take yourself on a self-guided art tour in the evening. Some pieces are really experienced best in the evening. Also, in addition to our man, we have a temple. But unlike a temple in a regular city that's assigned to a religion and ideology, the temple that happens at Burning Man is whatever you as an individual want it to be. So at Burning Man, it's typical to see people inscribing messages or remembrances of people that have passed, or of making a declaration on the temple of something that they want to manifest for themselves. And they interact, create their own space within it. And then on Saturday night, our man burns. It's a big spectacle. It's a very central experience to who we are as a group and who we are as a community. And we all can't wait to build it anew again. And what's amazing, too, about Burning Man is unlike a regular city where you have cell phones and texting and plans, there's nothing like that that can mediate communication between people at Burning Man. Cell phones don't work. Messages are hard to decipher, and you have to experience the moment. You have to be present. You can have plans, but you have to be okay with them falling to the wayside. What's really amazing is that when participants leave Black Rock City, they want to make their city and their daily life more like the ideal world and the ideal scenario that they created for themselves while they were in the city of their dreams. So here's an example of artists who took a piece from Black Rock City, the ray gun Gothic rocket ship, and brought it to San Francisco's Embarcadero. and gave people that were experiencing day-to-day life in San Francisco an experience that one could have on the playa. They didn't just have to look at a piece, but they could interact with it, much like the art pieces that you have out front of here. Once Burning Man is over, nothing can be left behind. Not a cigarette butt, not a sequin, not a piece of glass or a piece of wood. Everything that comes into the city has to be taken out. So participants are responsible for their own leaving no trace. But then some of those volunteers that you saw in the beginning stay till the bitter end, and they make sure that nothing is left. And as a city, we have to look out for this. If we leave a trace, we won't be able to have our city each year in Black Rock City. We won't receive the permit. So we self-police a little bit, and we try to hold one another accountable to the standards and to what we have created, because we want it to happen again. So we create a moot map, and what you see here are all the different camps. And if it's green, that means that they've done a good job and they've left the slate clean. They've left Black Rock City blank. The red camps probably aren't going to get a warm welcome from our placement team next year. And the yellow, maybe there's some signs for improvement. But this is a way in which we measure our city together because we want it to happen year after year. For us, it's central to our experience of being a part of a larger community. It's a family reunion, and we want it to happen. That's me. I'm Meghan Rutigliano, Meghan at burningman.com. I love speaking about Burning Man. It's something I'm extremely passionate about, and I welcome you to keep in touch with me and ask me any questions at all. Part of my role is to be in contact with people that come to Burning Man from other cities and are inspired to take that magic and create communities around the world. There's a great community here in Russia. Last night we had a meeting. They're bringing art to the playa this year. They're creating a performance camp, and then they're also creating an art installation, which will be in our man base. So if you want to get plugged in any way, please keep in touch with me. Thank you. Спасибо.